What's up, guys? Dave with Miracle Canine Training. So we're out here, we're gonna make a quick video on proofing your dog's training, just maintaining your dog's training long-term. We have tons and tons of clients that are, all over the map as far as their training programs are concerned. We have dogs that just completed programs a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever it may be. We have dogs that have completed programs with us 4 years ago, right? And it's important to obviously sit down and go over things and maintain that training long-term for the success of the dog. I always say training lasts forever, right? Training never ends. There's never a point you hit where it's like, I don't have to worry about anything anymore. My dog's perfect. My dog's well-behaved. We're good to go, right? Now, I always tell everybody, you shouldn't need to sit down and do like formal training sessions every day by any means. Most of your maintenance work with your dog's training is going to come through just day-to-day application, right? So, working on your bed stays when you have guests coming over, working on your healing while you're out on the walk, doing recalls in the backyard when you need your dog to come inside. And, as long as you're following consistency with how you're enforcing those things and still providing consequences for non-compliance of it and all that kind of stuff, again, you shouldn't need to sit down and do formal training sessions. That being said, I do recommend trying to work, Deli, come. Bed. Got a car coming through here. Down. That being said, I do recommend sitting down and every now and then do a training session with your dog. Kind of put them through the motions, make sure they're still going to be compliant, stay sharp on things. That way, even if your dog is 4 years post-training, you're still going to be able to dive in and know that dog is still sharp with stuff. Know they're still in these routines and patterns so that when you need to use them, they're still good, right? So what I want to do is I want to demonstrate with my personal dogs here just some general things that I would do with each individual one to make sure they're staying sharp with things and staying good with everything, and show you how you can kind of break things down and work on this stuff at home with your dog. When I'm looking to maintain training long-term, what I try to do is I try to break down where are the core things that I need my dog to be able to do in day-to-day work, right? So I'm not gonna be working on a bunch of stuff mixed together and doing recalls to all sorts of positions and stuff. I'm gonna be isolating commands and making sure I'm working them in repetition rapidly to stay sharp and fluent with stuff. So kind of the core stuff you have here is your leash walking, your recalls, your stationary positions, right? Leash walking and recalls are kind of the same thing, right? Because ultimately your recall and the way we teach it means to stay with you and you enforce it the same as if you're on the walk or off the leash or whatever it may be, right? And your stationary positions are gonna encompass like your bed stays, your down stays, or your sit stays, depending on which of those you've taught or which of those you're using. We tend to keep it really simple with just a down stay and just a bed stay. Most of my dogs, that's all they know how to do. They'll hold a down stay really, really well. They'll hold a bed stay really, really well. And I've never needed to have them be able to do any sort of flashy, fancy interchanging between any of that kind of stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down those things. I'm gonna demonstrate them with my dogs and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna reinforce them. You can use food if you want throughout this process, but keep in mind that the further you are in the training process, the less reliant on that you should be. Most times food we use very, very heavily in the early stages of training to reinforce and teach and build motivation and stuff. But once we're, 4 years post-training or whatever it may be, a lot of this stuff we want to just be habit. We want the dog to just stay smooth and understanding they have to do those things, and we want to keep them in kind of a compliant state of mind while they're working those things. So I'm not looking for tons of motivation and tons of engagement with these steps. I'm just looking for dogs that are going to be responsive, smooth, and compliant with the commands. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so what we're gonna start with here is our recalls as well as our healing. I'm gonna start with just some recalls, so creating distance, calling her to me, then I'll start turning that into the heel position here. Like I said, they're both basically the same thing, but I like to break them up and give the dog the opportunity to just kind of get into the rhythm before I start. So again, while you're enforcing all of these things, utilize your e-collar for the corrections as needed. We're making sure we're using a nice firm level for this stuff just to make sure it's gonna be motivating, obviously. We're trying to proof stuff. There's a clear expectation that the dog understands these things. So we're gonna get started with that process here. So I'm gonna give my command for any of these, give the dog an opportunity to comply. If they don't comply, mark with no, give correction on your e-collar, then repeat your command. Deli, come. And on those recalls, again, make sure you get stability. I don't care about a sit or a down, but I do want to see them come nice and close and stay nice and close. Create distance. Deli, come. Deli, come. Deli, come. Deli, come. All right, once your recalls look pretty smooth, we're gonna start to make this healing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick a 50-foot long area, and I'm just gonna go up and down and forcing my healing. So, Deli, come. So I'm gonna start walking. And at this point, once you've given your command, don't repeat yourself at all. Obviously, just correct for getting out of position. When you make those turns, make sure you get a quick no, come, follow with you. If you don't, give your correction for that. Same deal, turn. You want to see that quick adjustment back to you. Turn, quick adjustment back to you. And as we're working through this process, I'm gonna do a lot of this. Again, I really wanna test the dog's understanding and compliance with those commands through doing lots of rapid repetitions here. You could obviously add stops into this. Come. So making sure on that stop, your dog is stopping with you. Come. 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 Okay, so once you have your recalls and your healing looking pretty good, what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump then into our down stays and our bed stays. So we got a bed set up over here. I'm gonna use the rest of the area here to work the downs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump right into this. Deli, come. I'm gonna pick a spot, down, put her into a down, walk away, and obviously at this point, if she were to break command, I would mark with no, give my correction, take her back to the same position that she's in right now, and then repeat that down command. Deli, come. Down. Good. Deli, come. Down. Again, you see doing rapid repetitions here. Now, once those down stays look good, we're gonna start to add the bed into things. Deli, come. So I'll walk up to the bed. Deli, bed. Give that command. And leave her there. Deli, come. And go ahead and take them back to the bed. Bed. Good. Deli, come. Bed. Good. Deli, bed. Okay, so again, what we're doing is we're taking each individual command, we're doing lots of repetitions of each individual command, then we're moving on to the next one. Then we're doing lots of repetitions of that command, then we're moving on to the next one. The more repetitions you're able to get in a row strengthens that command. You should see the more that you do, the smoother and the more reliable the dog gets with each one, and then obviously you move through each of your commands that way in order to proof them, right? So we're gonna move on to the next dog here and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Vinny next here. Same deal, no rewards throughout this process. We're just trying to teach him to slow down. Now, another thing to keep in mind here is know your individual dog. In Deli's case, she's a lot more slow and kind of stoic of a dog in her training and her working and stuff like that. So because of that, I'm gonna focus on fast repetitions. Lots of rapid, fast repetitions here. Vinny, on the other hand, is just a hyperactive Malinois, obviously, and his emphasis is always put on slowing him down. So I'm gonna do a lot less recall work with him, and I'm gonna do a lot more duration work with him in order to work through this kind of stuff. So first and foremost, again, do some recalls. Now, in his case, it's gonna be really hard to lose him, so I'm not worried about that. That's fine. We may just jump right into the heeling. So I'm just gonna try to quickly create distance, if possible. Come. 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 Again, once recalls look good, we'll jump into the heeling. Same process here. Come. Just walking. Turning. Looking for quick turns with me. Bad stops. Come. 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 All right, so once the recalls are good, we're gonna start jumping into the downs here. Down. Good. Again, emphasizing stability. This is something that this dog needs more so than some of my other dogs. I'm gonna really wait for him to stabilize into that position. Come. Down. Good. Come. Come. And once the downs look good, you'll move on to your beds. Bed. Come. Bed. Come. Bed. Come. All right, so last step of this equation would be if you have multiple dogs. I have 4. We're just going to use 2, obviously, for right now. You would start working these things together once they're good by themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through the same stuff. I'm going to create distance. Come. I'm going to make sure both dogs stabilize. Come. 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 Down. Good. Come. Down. Good. Come. Down. Come. Bed. Come. Bed. Come. Bed. Come. Down. Good. So again, just some pointers on how to maintain your dog's training, just utilizing my dog's quick training session with them. And I'm guilty of this just as much as everybody else. I mean, you see they're obviously not perfect with everything. There's still little things that can be tightened up here and there, and that's normal, right? As you move further and further from that end point of training, you're gonna see that you're gonna let little things slide in certain areas where they're good or, 80% better than they used to be and stuff. But if you always wanna have that like fresh out of training response that you get right after the training sessions where the healing's perfect, the downstays are perfect, everything is really well practiced, then you're gonna wanna sit down periodically and work on things like this. Take 10 minutes, once a month or once every couple of weeks and just work your dog, outside of just the day-to-day practice of things, and just get their brains active, get their brains working, and just kind of keep them moving through the process. So hope this video helps. If you guys have any questions on things you could do to help with any other issues maybe having post-training with your dog, obviously let us know. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow.